for you guys making this team call a priority to tune in. We as leaders are trying to make it really worth your while to have great speakers on, and we have a great one on tonight. And just share with you updates and things like that. So I really appreciate you guys getting on, and then also getting your team on so that they can tune in and really get to see how amazing our community is, hear great stories, information, because stuff is changing so fast. You just want to be tuned in all the time. So just before we introduce our guest speaker, I just want to talk about the regional coming up, guys. I am so freaking pumped. It is not this Saturday, but next Saturday. It is the one that our team, Team B, is responsible for. And this, in my opinion, and I've been doing this 11 years now, is going to be one of, if not the best regional ever, because of the speakers that are coming. We have Luke Wren. And for those of you that are new or like, so, have you heard of Tony Robbins? He is a world-renowned motivational speaker. Luke is basically his right-hand man and does the same kind of training. And Michelle Ball and her team out west have had all of the best speakers in this business from Australia, from the UK, you name it. And they had Luke Wren there last fall, and they said he blew it out of the water, better than anyone else that they had ever had. And they have had amazing speakers, but he is just that good. So you've got to be there, guys. He is speaking on Friday night. He is also speaking on Saturday as part of our regional. We are still hoping that his wife, Katie, who is leading the charge in the UK, she is the #1 person in the UK. Isn't that crazy? And they got married, and lived happily ever after now in Florida, but her green card is possibly preventing her from coming. If she's not live, she will be in the house via Zoom. So you've got to come out to this. It is going to be so great. And then after that, Sarah, Jen, Nicole, and I have been working on a very, very special project. We are like bursting at the seams, trying everything not to screw up and share stuff, but we've been dropping a lot of sweet little hints that you'll soon learn all about, and we are going to tell you all about it. We think you are going to love it as much as we do, that it is going to take your business to the next level. And we're going to be sharing all of that after the regional at a lunch. So all of that information is on Team B, where everything is happening. If you have any questions, of course, reach out to me. You know what? Reach out to Nikki. Nikki has all the details. I don't know where everything's happening, but it's all there on Team B. So on that note, I'll just do one more check. I don't think Nicole is on. Are you on, Nicole? Probably not. So that's all right. Where is she? There's Jolene right at the top of my screen. So excited to invite her on tonight. She is going to be sharing with us Passion on Fire. I had the pleasure of meeting her in Quebec just recently when we had our NMD Summit. I don't know if she was as happy to meet us as we were to meet her, because we dragged her into our burpees for boobies, and she was a great sport, super fit anyways, and she joined us and did the burpees, and got chatting with Nicole and all that she's doing in her hometown, and said, oh my gosh, you got to get on our call and share with our team. And so she agreed, and so here she is. So I'm going to turn it over to her so she can get started. Welcome, Jolene.
Thank you, Melissa. What an awesome introduction. I love that. I love that you guys just made it happen in the gym. Burpees for boobies. Amazing. It's that kind of stuff, right? That excites people and gets the energy of the people you want around you and on your team. So yeah, I loved it. Thank you for including me in that. It was awesome to meet really so many people I'd only ever heard of. You guys are just all these like idols in the world that I live in, because in Manitoba I don't really see many other people in real life. You know, I always feel like Alberta and Ontario have the big things, and in Manitoba I feel like we don't have a lot. So it's our jobs to get to know you guys. So thanks for making it easy. Yeah, so Nicole just said, you know, can you just share with my team like what you did in Edmonton? That was great. And so I was very flattered, and I thought, okay, I can do that. And just the other day she kind of said, you know, maybe do your 5-minute story about kind of who you are, your product story, business story, and then I'll roll out exactly what I did in Edmonton. Jen Klesko, who is my upline NMD, had suggested I do customer acquisition as a topic, and I've never spoken in front of people or trained people like that before, so it's totally out of my comfort zone. But I think if any of you have done this business for even a little bit, even just a week, you know that if you push yourself to those uncomfortable places, good things happen. So I have learned to say yes way more than I ever used to, and so many doors have opened just like doing this call. So I said, okay, I can do customer acquisition. I don't know why you're picking me to do it, but I can do it. I can talk about how I build my customer base and share that with people. And then when I got to the regional training in Edmonton, the agenda had said, Jolene Aitken, passion on fire. I thought, what? What does that even mean? Why are they changing the topic on me? Like, that sounds way better than customer acquisition. But essentially that's what they were calling it. And I prefer that. So I'll share who I am, and then I'll just get into that little training with you guys. So a lot of it I'm sure you already know, but it may be just going to be heard differently because I'm a new voice. And yeah, so I live in Manitoba, an hour from Winnipeg. So I live in Portage la Prairie, and I'm here because my husband is with the Air Force, and so we have moved all over the place. We met in Edmonton, and that was about like 12 years ago. And then we were posted to Fredericton, New Brunswick, lived there, had our babies in New Brunswick, and then we were posted to Wainwright, Alberta. And then 3 years ago, we landed here in Portage la Prairie. So we have moved kind of all over the place and met wonderful people and had great adventures. And where Juice Plus fits in or came about was about 4 years ago, so in Wainwright, Alberta. My girlfriend from Edmonton came up to visit us and meet our kids, and she just shared it with me at a play date, and I was not on board. I was like, nope, we eat green things, the kids eat green things, fruits and vegetables is not a thing that we need more of, like, not at all, which it's so funny now looking back at that, because I grew up in a household, my mom's a nurse, and we like did not eat refined sugars, we ate really clean, and I didn't know any different growing up, but that was why I think I was stubborn to Juice Plus in the beginning, was because I thought we ate good enough. And I'm sure you've all had people in your lives that have said like, no, I'll just eat the real thing, or you know, I get enough the normal way. And I was one of those people. But what it took was my friend first sharing, so I had that first exposure at the playdate in my own house, and then her just always still being a friend, because it wasn't even 3 months later, both my kids got prescribed inhalers for possibly having asthma, and she had heard me complaining about all their other frequent ailments, about, you know, they had pneumonia, they had croup, they had ear infections, they had constant illness from the moment they went to daycare. So our kids were quite young. And I was just complaining about this all the time, but not relating it to anything nutritionally that I could do differently. So when the doctor prescribed these inhalers, that was when I honestly just gave my head a shake, and I thought, like, what can I do differently? Like, there's got to be something I can do, because how is this their immune system's getting stronger? Everybody kept telling me, you know, going to daycare is going to build their immune systems, and I was just this mom like, this is crazy. I'm home more with my kids than I can send them to daycare because they're always sick and always on antibiotics. There's got to be something. And so somewhere in my mind, I just remembered my friend sharing Juice Plus with me, and I thought, okay, I will talk to my husband and we'll see. And he was surprisingly on board. So I was like, okay, well, let's try this. I didn't think it was going to cure or fix anything, but I thought, you know, why not give it a try? So you guys, it's been 4 years. Our kids have not touched those inhalers. They don't remember having to have the masks and the puffers. That was a daily thing. So it's funny because I get the chills talking about it, and I just rearranged things in our craft closet, and I still have the little Ziploc baggies, one for Zoe, one for Alex, and it's got their little masks with like their outdated vintage, I say nasty now, inhalers, but because the memories attached to that aren't good ones. But I look back and I see how small those little masks are and how big my kids are, and they have not missed a day of school. They haven't missed any daycare. And that took, you know, consistency with giving them Juice Plus every day. I didn't make that a decision that they got to have. It was like, you were taking this stuff, and they loved it. They loved their gummies. But I honestly believe that being so consistent in giving them those 30 fruits and vegetables, and we gave them the fruits, the veggies, and the berries. I gave them the whole thing. So yeah, am I a believer in the product? 100%. Our kids' health just did a huge spin around. You know, I can't say that had we not been introduced that things would look the way they do now. We used to miss out on a lot of fun stuff. And if you know me well, I hate missing out on things. I'm like the biggest, like, I want to go there. I want to do this. Let's go to all the things. Let's have all the parties. Let's be at all the parties. So kids that are healthy and thriving and able to participate in school and daycare means that you as a parent can do more too. So for me, I didn't think I needed those fruit and veggie capsules or gummies, but you know, I had better quality sleep. I had more energy. I was just totally one of those raving fans that we hear about. So that ties into how did I, you know, become a part of this mission, which really no brainer. The girl who invited me to try the product said, your next order is coming out. Did you want to consider having it for like a lesser cost? And I was like, okay, that makes sense, you know, like for sure. But I don't have time. Like I'm busy with work and I'm busy with school and I don't have time for like actually doing a distributor thing. Plus I'm not into home parties. So she, yeah, she said, that's okay. Like, that's okay. You know, like if you do want to, then we can when that time comes. So she added me to all the groups. And of course I saw what was going on. And yeah, lo and behold, I did have a few people interested and I slowly had a little like paycheck potential. I had no idea of the numbers. I'm not a numbers person. I get the marketing plan now, but I didn't care about it. That was way too much stuff. But I was really good at talking to people and I was really excited about what was happening with my family. And that's all I did was I was just like, yeah, it's crazy. They're at daycare all week. I know. It's awesome. Like, wow. And so, you know, people were asking questions. I was really excited and that's what I was sharing. But my upline was really smart too, in that she said, you know, do you want to try having a Facebook launch party? So we did one of those. I had so much fun doing it that we had a couple more. So we did that whole 3 events in 30 days thing. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but essentially that's what she did with me. I didn't know she was doing a system or a thing with me. I just thought we were doing fun things together. But essentially that's what she did. She did the 3 events in 30 days and I did get to VF in that 30 days, which is great, right? That's what we want for everybody who wants to get to a place where their cost is covered with the product. And so I loved being there. I loved, oh, wow, okay, this is fun. Like, wonderful. So that's just where my business story started. But why did I become motivated to, you know, keep going with it? Because you could always just get to one spot and be like, okay, that's that. Where it got exciting for me was when we got posted to Portage la Prairie. So we have lived here now 3 years. My background is in social work. And so, you know, I love that work. I love empowering people to make change. The problem for that career with me is that I never really got to see a lot of the work and efforts I put in and that my clients put in get anywhere because of just the time it takes and relationships that you build before we'd have to move somewhere else. And so that was frustrating. Plus I did do shift work. And so, you know, I was missing out on a lot of me time. And I didn't really realize that pain that I had with kind of that career until I came here to Portage and it was on the line. Like, do I continue with social work and look for another job again? Because every time you move, you go through the interview and, you know, or do I look at this $50 franchise thing that people make a business and actually have a business? Like, can I be a businesswoman? That scared me. But then I love the idea of, maybe the kids go to daycare instead of they have to go to daycare. Maybe I stay home and do some things, or I go to work and do all the things that I have to do on their time. So the freedom spoke to me so well. And I know, you know, most of you obviously know Nicole, and so you know the colors, and I've learned that I am red, and freedom is huge, huge to me. I say that I'm a peach, I'm a red yellow, but like freedom is big. And if I feel like I'm in a box, I get really unhappy. And so with the military and me not having really any control over where we're going to live or what we're going to do, having something that's mine is incredible. But why it appeals is this community. The more times you go to events, the more you plug into Zoom calls like this, you don't even have to know the people face to face, but we have the most incredible community. And I didn't know that I was missing a place to belong. Like, it almost embarrasses me, but that's what I was missing, was like, I didn't fit in anywhere, right? And I don't want that for my kids. I don't want them, oh my goodness. I don't want them, with all the moving, to feel like they don't have a place. Whew. So anyway, I love the business more than I love the product because it changes people's lives in ways that are so profound. And I've really learned that, you know, you don't have to sacrifice time for money. You can just choose the time that you want to work and invest accordingly. So I wasn't supposed to make myself cry. but I'm a total feeler. And yeah, I don't like moving. So done with that part. Okay, moving on from that, I'm gonna just share with you passion on fire. So why this business is exciting and why we want to bring on customers. So I have to share my screen. Bear with me. Can you guys see that? Okay, so hold on. Okay, all right. So this is just a lowdown on, you know, that guy I was telling you about and my kiddos. So when we started our journey, the kids were 3 and just under 4. So Zoe and Alexander and my husband Bruce and I. So we live in Manitoba. We spend our summers out at the beaches. They're everywhere. I say this is us by night. So very much my husband's world is the Air Force. He is a major and second in command here of the training school. So he trains the pilots that fly in our Air Force, which is pretty cool because Portage la Prairie is where all of the pilots come from. And he was once a student here, and now he's teaching the students. So yeah, and then I say this is us by night, and that's at the Elton. So with our business, there's the Elton Awards when you get to 12 Club, and I'm a QNMD 12 Club, and that's really exciting. I went to my first Eltons, and so, you know, instead of me being on his arm, as I say, like his arm candy, that was the one time he was mine when he came to the Elton, so that was kind of fun. All right, so number 1, here we go. This is kind of what we're going to talk about. I say it comes down to building relationships is just number 1. We all know that, right? If you don't have a connection with somebody, how are you going to share any information at all? So building relationships. Then we're going to talk about the Ford method, or you might know it as FROG. It's just an acronym that I'll go through. SLOP, the 90-day game plan, and events. So that is what we're going to talk about. So I know when I bring on a new team member or even just myself, I always say, like, just think back to your beginning. How did you start with the product? For me, it's all about what I call the E's, pronounced like E, like you're so excited, right? Why did you start? Were you excited to start? I think most of us are excited to start the product. We're curious. We're like, what is this going to do? So, you know, think back to that. Think back to, were you excited to start Juice Plus? Why were you excited to start Juice Plus? So for me, you know, there was the play date. I was just excited to see my friend. I didn't know she was going to talk about Juice Plus. So from a business standpoint, set up play dates, set up coffee dates. People probably want to see you. So the exposure, that's another thing too. So again, what was it like? How were you exposed? For me, the first time, she simply just brought it up at a play date. She talked about her kids were always constipated. I had nothing to relate to that, but we were just moms at a play date talking about eating and sickness and poop, apparently. The event itself, so you're thinking about excitement, exposure, and event. So what event was it, or where was it that, you know, Juice Plus was brought to your attention? So let me just, I'm trying to remember why I wrote down Playdate and then Brett Klesko and Michelle. Oh, okay, so that was my second event. So I think everybody probably knows Michelle Rogers, and Brett Klesko is my upline NMD's son. So he is now an NMD on our team as well. And at the time, my second serious event I went to was in Sylvan Lake, and it was incredible. And I had these people I didn't know about that were talking to me, and I was just like, wow, these guys are kind of a big deal. Why are they even giving me the time of day, right? And so I had these kind of people that I idolized, but it was good because then I would follow them on social media and, you know, talk to them and build these relationships. So if you do meet people that kind of inspire you or awe you, don't be too afraid to connect with them, or if, at the very least, just like creep them on Facebook and see how they're doing it. I mean, I learned so much from Michelle Ball that she never knew she taught me. But then that was part of why I was afraid to like talk to her, because I'm like, oh my goodness, what if she saw that, you know, I was doing exactly what she was doing, just with my own face and pictures, you know? But like, we learn from those people. Success leads clues. So yeah, time to build relationships everywhere. So that is key. So I like to say to write out a list of places where you spend money. So if you have a pen and paper, Tax season's coming up, for example. Maybe you want to talk to your accountant about it. I don't know. Maybe they're wondering, like, what is this little business she has? Oh, have you ever heard of a tower garden? Like, whatever, just the places you spend money. I honestly had a beer and wine yoga event in my backyard, and I had to go to the liquor store to get alcohol for it. And the lady at the till said to me, wow, this looks like a fun weekend or something. And I was like, it's actually for work. And I don't know if you like yoga or beer, and so she's like, yeah, that sounds great. So I sent her the information on Facebook, and she showed up with 5 people. So talk to people where you're spending your money. That was really fun. Got to meet new people and have drinks with them and do yoga. Write out a list of groups or social circles that you participate in or wish you participated in. So, if yoga is something that you've always wanted to do, but you've never done it, try it. You will meet new people there and you might like it. Write out a list of people you really like to be around, but no longer connect with. So if you are somebody that, lives in the same city that you went to high school in, or college or university or anything like that, like, are there certain people who you would like to kind of, they're your dream team people, they don't know it, but, or just people you like to be around. Maybe your hairdresser is somebody that you really enjoy going and having a conversation with her, but you've never really connected with her outside. Those kind of people, like, get to just have a little conversation with them. And I'll talk about how to start conversations as well after this. Write out a list of people who you admire but never actually talk to. So I was too afraid to talk to Brett Kolesko. I was too afraid to talk to Michelle Ball, Sandy Bayou, Cindy Brills. Like, there's all these people who I was way too afraid to talk to. It took other people bringing me up to them to talk to them. So I guess if nothing else, let other people know who the people are that you admire. I don't know what it is about me. I get really like starstruck and just like awkward. I'm getting better at it, but I know that about myself, and people who know me well know that too. So Brett, actually, he's like the first one to be like, okay, we're going to go talk to that person because I know that thing's happening to you. Yes, it is. So, you have those people who can help you, just help you push yourself. Write out a list of people. I did that. Okay, in one word, write out the reason why you have not said hi to these people in the last few months. So that might be uncomfortable and you might not want to think about it. Sometimes it can be because maybe you're jealous of them. Maybe you're afraid of them. Maybe, I don't know what it could be. Usually I think the reasons we don't talk to people is we're just kind of afraid of rejection. But just think about it. Think about what it is, because there's something there that you want to talk to them, but there's something holding you back. So I said, for me anyway, maybe it's the same for you and maybe they don't even know it, but people who have helped me grow the most in this business are often the people I've been the most afraid to talk to. So here's my short list of who in this room, and I said in this room, so this was in the Edmonton training, that I was always afraid to talk to. So I said, Dr. Brett Kolesko and co. And so when I say and co, I mean like his family, which is crazy because that's like my upline. NMD is Dr. Jan Kolesko. But I was like, oh no, he's a doctor, he doesn't have time. Like, I don't want to bother him, right? So that was about me. That was a me problem. I had to get out of my own way there. Michelle Ball, Sandy Bayou, Cindy Brills. So, what changed that fear into action for me? Like, what was it that got me from being too afraid to really private message them, talk to them when I was in a room with them, box for them? What was it? So I wrote the word proximity. Every time I got a little bit closer to them, or I was able to be in the same room, so that means you do have to go to events or get on Zoom calls like this. Like, the more I was exposed to these people who I really saw as doing something in a way that I wanted to do it, or that I thought was, relatable to me, the more I put myself in their arena, my fear started to break down. So really, that is huge. And then this is a picture of us at the Elton, so it was like so exciting for me to be like, Bruce, this is Michelle Ball. He's like, oh, okay, this person you've told me about forever. Okay, so from watching to doing. So this is just a sort of a crazy story I'll share with you. Again, relating to proximity and how important it is to put yourself out there. I don't mean it's important to go arm wrestle, but this is, you never know what will happen. So We got posted to this place, Portage La Prairie, Manitoba. I did not know that arm wrestling was a big deal. I didn't know that the world's second best arm, like the best in the world, lives in Portage. I didn't know that. But what I did know is that one of my friends who was a customer who has a massage therapy clinic here, she works on this arm wrestler guy, and one day he asked her, I'm going to be having a tournament and I want there to be some supplements, and I want to know what you would recommend in your clinic or practice. And because she was taking Juice Plus, she had said, oh, well, have you heard of Juice Plus? And she's like, here's who I would talk to. So I got to connect with this guy and his wife, and lo and behold, he used to take our product like 6 years ago or something like that. So he was familiar with it, but he never told me this. He didn't tell me this until afterwards. So I go and I have a fruit and vegetable stand at this arm wrestling tournament that's blowing my mind because I didn't know this was a thing, and there are people seriously pumped up, just like crushing it on the table. There's TV, like camera crews in there, and I'm just feeling sort of bizarre with fruits and vegetables when there's people with fluorescent drinks and like energy drinks all over the place, and I'm like, what am I doing here? And his name's Ryan Espy, and he's like, yeah, don't forget to go check out, Juice Plus table, blah, blah, blah. And he's plugging it like he knows about it. So then I asked him, like, well, what do you know about this? And so he said, he took the product. So, we had a conversation, and this was like, I don't know, however long ago, but that was like, I wouldn't have known that was a thing. And so it's important to put yourself out there and to say yes to opportunities. So then that one exposure, at the arm wrestling tournament in Portage led to me kind of following them around to their arm wrestling tournaments with the Juice Plus table and meeting a whole community of people I would never have met. And then provincials happened, and they said, we think you should get on that table and you would have a really good shot. And I was like, you've lost it. You have lost it, because I don't know the first thing. I've seen you guys. I had never practiced. But I also felt like they wouldn't tell me that I could do it if they didn't have a little, belief. So lo and behold, I got up there and I became Manitoba's 4th strongest right arm wrestler. And that is crazy. Would you have thought that because I had a fruit and vegetable stand, I would have a title of like Manitoba's right arm? Like, crazy. So then I started thinking, oh, imagine if I trained. So you never know the doors that could be open when you do this business. Never in a million years would I have thought that, social worker turned fruit and veggie tycoon turned, sure, I'll try this arm wrestling thing. But it just, it tells you that you can go from watching people do it. I easily could have said, no, I'll just watch you. Or, I won't show up to have a table at that event. That's not my thing. I'll find someone else. But the more times you say yes, and I'm not saying you need to go and arm wrestle, but just realize that there are people watching you, and there are probably people believing in you that you never would have believed in yourself. I never would have believed in myself that I could do that. But other people did. So trust your uplines that they believe in you and they want this to work out for you, and they will have your back. Okay, so how to start conversations. So when you meet somebody or you're starting a conversation online, this is the method that I use. And I've heard it described as Ford or as frog, so whatever works for you. The F stands for family. So if I have a brand new person, say we met on Facebook or we met on Instagram or whatever, you're going to be like, hi, how are you? Or maybe it's somebody from years ago, that person that you wanted to talk to, but you've been afraid to talk to, but you kind of used to get along or whatever. How do you start that conversation? You say, hi, how are you? What's new? That kind of thing. This is the order of kind of foolproof flow. So start with family or where are you from? So if it's someone like, how's it going? What's new with the family? I've seen your pictures on Facebook, man, the kids are growing up, or so, your mini me looks so much like you, or, I can't imagine what it'd be like to be a mom of 4 or something, to connect it to family. Or if you don't know them at all, just say, hey, like, where are you from? And go from there. And then you roll it out into occupation. What do you do? And then they'll respond with what they do. And then from there, what do you do for fun? So, I I wouldn't go out and just be like, what is your recreation? But what do you do for fun? So then the last thing is dreams, where with Frog, it's really goals instead of dream. It's just the word goals. And then your dreams. So, do you have any trips coming up? Is there anything you're looking forward to this year? What do you have happening? Like, what's your vision for the next little while? So that's just kind of the conversation flow, I guess you'd say, that I have with new people that I'm trying to build a relationship. I just kind of follow that and then just let it build from there. And eventually they'll ask you something about you, hopefully. Okay, this isn't going to make any sense to anybody, and that's kind of the point, strangely enough. These are my notes from the Canadian the Canadian training at conference. Our kids were with us, so I don't know if everybody was there, but our kids were sitting at the same table. So it was myself, my husband, and then our kids. And so we had like all the toys for them and coloring and stickers and like this dinosaur sequence that's going up my page. That was on my arm. My son had that all the way up my arm. And, so that's part of our business. Sometimes you just have to go with the flow, and you're only going to maybe get like 20% of whatever's being shared. But this also just speaks to, I am not a numbers person. There are people who rock this business who love the numbers. They love the funnel system and plugging everything into, okay, I've got them in the funnel. If you know Brian Marsh's training on the funnel, then you'll know what I'm talking about. And you're trying to get people into the funnel and then have them come out following that method. And he broke down the numbers. So, in the beginning, you're going to have to talk to this many people, this many events, 3-way calls. After all that, you're going to end up with like 2 actual doers. So anyway, he's like, to get that, you have to talk to like 80 people. So he had this whole like formula algorithm going on, and I'm like trying to figure out the kids and like making sure things are going on over here. And I've got stickers up my arm, and I'm really trying to do this because I want to be able to take it back to explain to my team. And then this is what I end up looking at the end of the day, and I'm like, no idea. I don't know. You just got to talk to a shit load of people. That's what SLOP stands for. So sorry for my language, but that's SLOP. I was like, I look at this and I'm like, all this means to me is SLOP. For some people, they need to know that ratio of, if I talk to this many people, it's going to result in this, 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 and this. For me, I'm like, I just got to talk to a lot of people. So if you think similar to me, then SLOP is your that is your formula. Shitload of people. 90-day game plans. Hopefully people are familiar with those. I've done probably 3 of them without finishing, starting, stopping, starting, stopping. I've done 2 back-to-back full and huge results. So, find one. If you don't know what they are, maybe talk to your team about what they are, how to get on them. This is just some samples of like day 1, day 2, and day 3. So if you are like, I think it'd be a Blue would really like this kind of thing. If you like to have your tasks, here's what I got to do today. You'll love a 90-day game plan. I like them because it just keeps you rolling, right? Like you could do so many things in a day, depending on how much time you have to give your business. You could do 5 days of 90-day game plan in one day if you wanted. Or if you don't have that much time, you could just do one task and have it take you 10 minutes. So I really do like the 90-day game plans and encourage people to get on them and participate in them. And of course, events, right? We know that you really need to participate in them, either go to them, host them, help your team with them, but events are so key. So I always like to say, go big, go small, but just go. If you aren't plugging into Zoom calls or you aren't hosting events or having online events, there's probably not a lot of stuff happening within your business. So, just take a look at it. Like, what are you willing to do, or who do you need to connect with to help you maybe do an event that appeals to you? So if it makes you both excited and nervous, you should probably do it and lock arms with people who are passionate about our mission. So for me and Wayne, right, when I started Juice Plus 4 years ago, I think there was only one other distributor, and I didn't even know that at the time when I joined the business, and I wasn't doing the business again for business, right? I was just doing it for a kickback. But when I did start wanting to have people to work with, I was like, I'm gonna have to make my own crew because there's nobody here, which is kind of what we want to do anyways. But then the same thing happened in Portage. I came here and I called their head office, and there was nobody in Portage where I lived. So I was just like, man, I just really want to have people like beside me doing stuff, but that wasn't the case right away. And so I've always locked arms with whoever's energy I connect with. So there's a few people in Winnipeg who I met at regionals, and right away we were like, yeah, do you want to, yeah. So I'm all about, just locking arms with whoever is excited and on our mission. I don't care what team you're on or any of that stuff. It's just, let's go for it and have fun. And so, yeah, this girl in the blue dress, her back is to us. This is Katie Howe. She's in Winnipeg, and she's a sales coordinator. And she had said to me, hey, do you want to do a night market in Winnipeg? And I was like, oh, no, I don't do trade shows and stuff. Like, that's just not my thing. Like, I don't like locking in, having to be in one spot for 5 hours. And, like, I don't know, which is crazy because my job before this was in marketing, and I promoted MasterCards, and I got everybody to sign up for a free MasterCard. So maybe that's part of it. I just didn't want to be like that person again. But I went for it, and I did this with her, and it was so much fun. We had so much fun. It got darker. The Tower Garden was glowing outside. So of course, people were just constantly coming to the garden, and it was easy to talk about because people were coming to us. And I had never really thought about that, the difference in you inviting people to your Facebook event, or you inviting people to your home, right? You're inviting them. But when you're out at a trade show, people come to you. So if you have an appealing display, people are going to come to you. And I always encourage people to stand in front of their tables. That's just something I learned early on, not Juice Plus related, but be out front of your table. Anyway, so the CTV guy, he comes over and he asks if he can trade the pizza slot he had plugged in to come interview our Tower Garden. So of course we said yes, right? Because you always say yes. When an opportunity comes, you just say yes, and you get nervous, but you figure it out. So yeah, I always say have a Tower Garden at your events. Like, you're missing out huge if you don't have a Tower Garden there, because they draw people to you. Have fun events, right? So invite people you enjoy spending time with. Really unclear picture, but this was a beer, wine, yoga we did in Edmonton. And it's at Brett's 4 Points Health and Wellness studio. And Alicia and, I think her name's Amanda. Anyways, so the three of us, and we just did a beer, wine, yoga. And we had so much fun because it's beer and wine and yoga, right? So I always just say, like, do an event that fits you, something that you would want to go to, because those are the people that you're going to want to work with anyways, right? That's what you're going to resonate with. And if you're not excited about it, it's going to be really hard for you to get other people excited. So how I would talk to people would just be to say, I thought of you because you light up a room. We have so much fun together. I know you like yoga. Or wait a second, do you even like yoga? So that's sort of like how I invite people to come do things with me. I just let them know what I'm doing. And it's kind of like, I'm doing it anyways. Like, regardless if you come or you don't come, this is something I'm going to do. And, if I said I was doing like a crocheting class or something, people would be like, what? Like, they wouldn't believe me for a second. It's got to be you and what you're about for you to probably be able to express excitement and attract people that way. So ask them to bring friends if they like. So, you don't have to just leave it there. You don't have to just say, like, you're invited. You can always say, you're welcome to bring, welcome to bring your friends if you want. Does one event really make a difference to your customer acquisition? So, a month could go by and maybe you don't have an event, and maybe you think, does it really matter? Like, do I really need to have this consistent event all the time? I don't know. I'm not seeing much happening. So I just say, this depends. Did you talk to slop? So no matter what event you're having, you got to talk to a lot of people, and they've got to be different people, not always the same. So did you go back to the excitement, the exposure, the event? Did they know about Juice Plus a little bit already? Did you, hold on. Did they know a little bit about Juice Plus already? Have you shared your own experience, excitement, or even a video? So I have that there because, sometimes if you're inviting somebody to something, if they have no sweet clue about what our products are or what you're talking about, that might be a little overwhelming for them to even consider the idea that they're going to come to your home or attend an online event. So I usually try to share a little bit about Juice Plus before I would, share an event with them, so that when they come there, it's kind of like their second or third sort of experience, because I think that just kind of breaks down a little bit of the skepticism a little more every time, or piques a little more curiosity. So I always try to make sure that they've heard a little bit about it before I've invited them to come to an event. An example, my first ever out-of-home event, I personally invited over about 50 people. I had no team at this point in my business, and the turnout was about 20 guests. So this was in Wainwright. And you know who came to do this event? It was Sandy Vayu, Cindy Brill, Brett Klesko. None of those three are connected to my organization. They don't gain anything from what I do. And so that speaks volumes to, you know, how awesome our community is, like how willing people are to help other people. And because they're great leaders, right? They're trying to build up their teams as well, and their experience. So, you know, those three came out and did a Mythbusters, and we had 20 people show up. And I think out of that, maybe 15 or so were mine. And anyway, from that one event, that was the first ever event I had out of the house, and it resulted in new customers and new team. And so I have to just be bold and say, yes, one event really, really, really makes a huge difference. You know, even if nobody orders, that's another exposure. That's building belief in your team. Every event has something in it that is going to be worthwhile. Is swap worth it? Is committing to one event worth it? Yes. So follow up. They always say the fortune is in the follow up. So whether you're going to follow up from something today, tomorrow, next week, or next month, just keep trying again, even a month later. Always, always follow up. You'll be ready to help them. I can't see the bottom. You'll be able to help them when they're ready to start their own experience. So, you know, just because somebody's a not yet doesn't mean you don't talk to them about it again for a year. You still check in. You're still a good friend. You know, keep sharing on social media, of course, too, what's happening and that you haven't given up on our mission. And this is just a quote that I love from David O'Brien. So at the Tampa conference, David O'Brien said, "There is no leverage in average." And that just stuck with me. He said, you know, a lot of people are okay to have an average life. He's like, but then you start talking about things like, it's okay, you know, I had an okay meal, I had an okay lunch, or I slept okay. He's like, but if you start talking about things like, the pilot's okay, or my doctor's okay, there's some things that you kind of want to have better than okay. You want it to be like rock solid, like that doctor's awesome, or like something worth recommending, right? And so do you want to have a business like that, a business that is average, you know, or above average? So if you've seen David O'Brien, he just hops around stage. He's like the definition of energy, right? So I just love that when he said that there is no leverage in average. And so there's days where I tell myself that, like, okay, it's okay to be okay, Jolene, or it's like, no, I want to talk to Slop. I want this to be, you know, better. I want our family's lifestyle to be improving, not staying the same. So yeah, just decide if you're okay with being okay, or if you want a little bit more. And if you want a little bit more, then you are going to give a little bit more. And that is it. Do people have any questions or comments? Did I talk too fast?
Amazing, Jolene. Melissa and Jen had to hop off. They were leading the Design a Life You Love call, but that was awesome. I actually didn't get to meet you in Quebec, so I'm so sad. We'll definitely have to connect in Cali.
Yes.
Your story is so inspirational, and so many great little nuggets throughout there that I know that everyone was jotting down things, and you definitely did not speak fast at all, and it was awesome. Does anyone have any questions for Jolene at all?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Melissa.
Hi.
I recently started a Facebook group called Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yeah.
And I've been gradually adding a whole bunch of women. I shouldn't say gradually. It's actually grown really, really quickly. In less than a week, I've got like over 300 members in this group. So I've got quite a few women interested in coming out, and I've promoted it more as just like a fun girls' night out. So my question is, how are you doing your events, like your beer, wine, and yoga? Where are you promoting it as a Juice Plus thing? Like, are people coming knowing that they're going to learn about Juice Plus, or is it just a fun night? And, you know, what advice can you give me in terms of how to run these events and introduce Juice Plus?
Yeah, so I love the question. I think what you're asking is just exactly, yeah, am I being open about it's a Juice Plus event, or am I kind of waiting till people get there and then they see it? So if that's correct, then how I'll answer you is that's been a dilemma for me off and on, because the way I was sort of taught was like, you post Juice Plus all over the posters and you tell people you don't want people to be caught off guard and feeling like they're sold to, and like that's just not going to leave a good taste in their mouth, right? And then I feel like it was sort of like the Australian teachings is like, no, we just share lifestyle and you just make the event appealing and people will come to a fun event and then they'll find out about Juice Plus. So for me, the posters always say something like powered by Juice Plus or whatever. I don't make it a surprise. That's just how I do it. And I always have like an Eventbrite link. So anything like beer, wine, yoga, I'll use that example. So that was an Eventbrite link. It had the poster of like people doing yoga with like beer in their hand. And then there was like a Tower Garden logo or whatever at the bottom. And then when you read the description, it'll say blah, 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 powered by Juice Plus. So that's what I do. Or I'll say, samples of the complete protein shake. So yeah, I throw it in there, but I'm not saying like a healthy living party with Juice Plus company or something like that. But yeah, I definitely make the fun factor the forefront, but there's always something that will say powered by Juice Plus, but not everyone does that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Or the description will say too. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That was a great question. Yeah, we here in Ottawa, we've kind of toyed with both. And I've just learned it's just best for us anyways to at least say something about Juice Plus, so it's not a trust factor for sure.
I think,
I have a question.
Yeah.
How often did you have events?
You make it sound like I don't have them anymore.
Yay! Good job.
How often do I have events? Okay, so for me, my own formula, which you guys, it's just you got to do what fits your lifestyle, because we're all going to, if you're working it, you're going to get to a place where you're like, I'm doing too much or whatever, but you can also get to that place where you feel like you're not doing enough. So my thing is we have one monthly online Facebook event for our team. We have 2 Zooms a week. One is a team call, one is a product call. And then I always have one in home. So whether it's at my house or somebody that I live around or lives around here. And I tell my family that I'm willing to travel once a month. So for me, my situation is my team is everywhere. I have a team in Ontario, New Brunswick, Manitoba, Alberta, and BC. And that's because we've moved all over the place. So I'm finally getting a crew here, but that's only happened in the last year because I had to build up new friendships, right? So that's happening for me now here. But yeah, so I have the Facebook parties. That's how I built myself to VF, was just totally online, for what that's worth. Yeah, that's what I do.
That's awesome. And also, thank you for sharing your story. You stopped me dead. I was multitasking. I was doing like a million things as us moms tend to do. And when you got emotional, you stopped me dead, and I was fully engaged with you. And so I thank you for that, because your vulnerability is it's precious, and it's honest, and it's true, and it's, when I get into those moments, and although, you try to practice your story so that you're not emotional during it, it's the whole reason why we do it and why we're in it. So I thank you and honor you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I change the way I say it every time, but as soon as I start talking about the moving, it just messes me up.
No, but that's the beauty of what, like, now we can see why you do it, right? And it's not just you talking about the business, and it's not like, I think that's the stuff that grabs people, right? It's the stuff that people want to hear. And you did it to me. I was totally like, most often I'm sitting at my desk and I'm taking notes, as I'm taking notes now, but I was totally multitasking, which I never do. And I was like, oh, this story is really great, but I can multitask while I'm doing the story, right? And then you started, and I was like, oh my God, girl. This is dropped right in with you. So thank you.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Amazing. Anyone else? Good. Thank you again so much, Jolene. That was amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I just wanted to remind everyone to get your tickets for regionals like yesterday. It's going to be amazing. And I just wanted to welcome 2 of my new reps on. It's their first team call, Haley and Jessica. Welcome. You guys got a real awesome one for the first team call. That's awesome. So everyone have a great night. And
feel that too. It's good. Sorry.
Yeah, good. The call will be recorded and posted in Team B if you want to share it, because that was great training.
Thanks. Will you share the recording with me?
Absolutely. We'll make sure you have a copy of it.
I appreciate you guys asking. Have a great weekend. And Luke Wren, incredible. Saw him in Bam, like, oh, yes.
We're excited.
Yeah, you'll have such a good turnout, I'm sure. Anybody who's not there is crazy. Be there. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Awesome. Have a good night, everyone.